It begins.
Sending data, streaming on Twitch.
Right.
Streaming on Facebook.
That's good.
Streaming on YouTube.
Ah, it's all working. Well, hello everyone. Welcome back. Here we are on our little private club. It's very exclusive, you know. So I've managed to. I was thinking about the whole YouTube thing in the week, and I thought I seem to have managed to studiously avoid every possible way of promoting or creating any success for this whole channel. It's really yeah. It's always been about me archiving things, but at some point I may decide to actually make some proper videos and promote some stuff. Today I have, what's this called again?
Poinsettia.
Poinsettia. Because I've got a bit of a red theme going on. I finally got, I did a red rose, which I was actually happy with. Ooh. So yeah, that was a bit of a, kind of getting my own style, making a flower work while still painting in my own style. That's been part of the battle. But I really wanted this to be really just a pure colour study. And I'm wondering whether to do it portrait or landscape. So portrait if I'm going to include the vase. Landscape if I'm really, because there's this big wide shape there that wanders. Oh, there we are. I'll do it so you can see on the screen that big wide shape there. If I sort of just had the top of the pot and have a bit more space either side, the shadows and stuff like that. Yeah, but I think it'll probably go portrait. I'm going to put. Let me have a little look. I'm going to put the pot slightly off to the left. Okay, I'm going to take a square out of this. So 12 by 16, so the square is probably going to be about there. And all the action is going to be happening in here, and the nice negative space in the middle, sort of little swoopy round things. I'm working with a green here as well, and just have a little wander around, and yeah. This is all going to shrink in time. That's going to be smaller. As is that. That's the leaf there. Is this going to wander off? There's a nice little negative space going over there. And yeah, that'll be off to one side. Da, da, da. Okay, I'm into details already. Let's not do that. Big shape going over the top. I don't want it to go beyond here. So that's going to be my other little, oh, yeah, another little negative shape in here, sort of thing. So yeah, bits of dark, flick up there. Is that going to be high enough up? Maybe these darks can wander off the edges. They don't matter as much. Some of these darks down here, up here. Oh, it's going to go in there somewhere. It's going to go in here, sort of thing. Where's the pot? Is that too near to the bottom, or is that going to be okay? It's pretty close. Do I need to shrink it?
When you're like sort of initially starting with the painting, how are you choosing where the main subject matter actually sits on the page?
Well, I'm trying to see it and then trace over it. So at the moment, this is sort of, it's filling this up too much. I think I want a bit more space around it. And that's a mood thing. And that's where, I think in a big part, that's where the emotion of something comes from. on another day, this composition could feel exactly right, or I might have it so it's exploding out of the edges, and it's going to have a different emotional effect depending on what you do. This is moves back to the middle again, so I'm going to go smaller here. I'm going to go back to the pot. I'm going to put the pot in here. Let me get another brush. And I make some lights and shift some things around. And so that's there. In fact, I'll tell you what I might do. I might scribble over the whole thing with this. That's there. This is here. That's probably still about right. There'll be more included. Those dots will be in here, and then make a few negative spaces closer to where they need to go. In fact, actually, I think the pot, I put the pot in the wrong place. My brain wanted to see it in the middle. That's where I put it. Let's take that measurement.
Is there, like, you talk of like negative space, is there an amount of negative space that is required in a picture?
No.
Your brain to look at it and just go, oh, that feels comfortable.
I think, well, it may be. Certainly that's true of things like, print media and stuff. If you're doing like a layout for a magazine or a newspaper, everyone's seen those old copy of the Times from 100 years ago, and it's just absolutely crammed with the tiniest dense black print over the whole thing, and there's no rest for the eye. It's just this sort of like an encyclopedia or a dictionary. It's just crammed all the information in, and it doesn't matter how easy or difficult it is to read it. But there's also the thing of what's doing the communicating. And here, to a large extent, the negative space is doing the communicating. The green colour I use in the background is going to be very important in order to make the red come to life. Let's just scrap all of that. Come back in with a few bits. There's going to be a bit there.
And does it not become challenging when you put as much spirits on as you have done?
Oh, I'm not using a lot. It's really only a small amount. It's a damp brush. It's I say damp. I mean it's wet, but no, I'm not using loads, because if it's dribbling, if there's enough to even make a droplet that runs down, that's too much. Can have a nice effect, but it would be quite a lot. It only takes a little bit to make it. You only need a tiny bit of liquid to spread thinly over the whole thing, which means you need an even tinier amount of pigment for that to sort of stain and make a mark on the surface. Okay, it's changing.
So Josie's on. She's on board already. Isn't she good? Hi both. I do love a poinsettia. I'm glad you've spelt it because I can't. Anyway, and I enjoyed seeing the painting with the light in those blinds. Amazing effect.
Oh, well, that's nice. Well, that's still a work in progress. That
was the one that you showed me in the shop, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I really like that.
It's over there in at present a grey frame. Oh, there you go. Very, very nice to hear. Thank you. Yeah, I'm quite proud of my new blinds, so thought I ought to make some kind of feature of them. Okay, so now these greens are in. They're just doing the job of being dark. That's all they're for, really, at this stage. But I have got an idea of what goes where within the image. That's too much detail. I'll get my plumb line going. That's further across. Yeah, so it's slightly off center now, and there's a bit more space. It's a bit more open. It's still going to get near the edges, but I'm okay with that. Going to have a little point there, a few little points getting off the edge, and yeah, that should do it. So an interesting thing here, a lot of the time I work with quite muted colours and then gradually brighten them. And with a lot of things that works quite well, but here we've got this very intense red. And I've got to figure out what colour I can make that fits in that tonal range and has that intensity. If I were to just get some pure cadmium here, plonk that in the middle, that's going to need a bit of alizarin in it as well. You know what, I think I've got some Michael Harding Crimson Lake, which could come in absolutely ideal for this. There it is. And I don't know how well this would show up colour-wise. At first glance it could look like an identical colour, but it just isn't. So if you put them next to each other, oh, look at that. If I can zoom on this. There you are. So you can see this is a lot yellower. And it's just down to the amount of pigment you can get in. Crimson Lake, as the name suggests, is a dye-based pigment. It's still pretty light fast. But if I get some of that and mix it with the cadmium, it changes it. That's kind of the intensity I'm going for, but tone-wise, zoom out again. Sorry, after all Graham's careful adjustment of the...
That's actually really nice to be that far above it. That's really cool.
Yeah? I'll go in a bit. About there. Yeah, so if I compare it to this, it does stand out quite nicely from that. Which is sort of my dark. But if I mix myself some of the green that's going to go with it, so I'll get a bit of this left over. This is some Viridian and some bit of raw umber in there. Put a little bit of blue, a bit more Viridian. Oh, it's a bit yellow as well. Okay, that's in the ballpark. Am I going to see too much of a jump from one to the other? A big contrast. If I look at the two together, they're pretty good actually. I think I can get that red. I can make a slightly brighter version of that red. So I'm gonna make an orange now. a slightly pale orange. I'm going to use some of this, a little bit of cadmium yellow. That's going to get a bit paler, which means I need to put a bit more yellow back in it. And it hasn't got the intensity anymore. Oh, there's the orange turning up. More orange. Oh, that's way too yellow now. Gives you an idea of just putting lumps of cadmium yellow into that, and it's barely shifting it hue-wise. If I take some of that and stick more red back into it. Subtle, but it's a little bit lighter. So I think a bit of perceptual mixing, I'm going to have to sort of hint at the fact that it's a bit brighter afterwards. That's okay. I've got a few reds there to play with. I'm going to need a few of the darker reds as well, for which I will continue to use this green. Pop a bit of red in there. Let's see how that works. Oh, that's pretty good already. Right, that's given me some confidence. Yeah, okay. So let's do some more of this. Which means another splodge of raw umber. Plonk that here. I keep calling it Viridian. It's Taylor cyanine green, but if you buy student paints, it's called Viridian Hue, and it does exactly the same job Viridian does at a fraction of the cost. So that's the thing, when you're buying paints, buy pigments, and if the paint handles really badly, that's probably a good reason not to buy it. But if it's got the right pigment in it that does the job you want in a decent enough quantity and it handles well, then it's good paint, and doesn't have to cost you £100 a tube. Sometimes there's no way around it, but yeah, don't have to be one of these people that takes pride in the astonishing quantities of money they waste on paint. Okay, so that's an interesting thing. I mean, that's red with green in it, and it's still a really deep, really strong red colour. It's approaching black, but it barely seems much more neutral. It's, it's still really intense. That's pretty much a black. And this is so interesting because I've been adding bright red and a fairly intense green together. If I get a bit of this colour, pop it over here, put some white in it, you just see this grey appear. It's like, how red and how green is that? It's just... it's mad. So yeah, so there's a journey between these two colours where you get a really true neutral in between, and that's good. I can use that. I'm going to close my eye and blur my vision. Really try to appreciate what colours are here. Big brush, a little bit of thinness. Get some really big shapes on that. I might use an even bigger brush, I don't know. No, it's just for scrubbing in. I'm going to have to mix a larger quantity of paint because this is nowhere near enough, but I'll start with the bright one. And I'll start with the bright one that can still get a bit redder. And and really just try and chuck some shapes in. It's going to mix on the surface with this green, but that's okay. Brighten it up later on with slightly thicker paint. Certainly going to want to look bright here.
Did you choose the green as your initial starting paint for a reason?
Yes, it's because it's going to vibrate against the red. So where it shows through in the gaps, it will make the red sort of jump out and vibrate against it. Okay, I'm getting into details here. I need to be thinking of bigger shapes than this, which is all of that, and this, and this, and I'm going to be going over some of this with dark, so it doesn't matter too much. And that's, where does that talk to that? That kind of comes down here. Let's see what comes out of there. So, yeah, I mixed this black by mixing this red and this green together. So the green on the surface is already doing something to make some darks. And the more I work it in, the more they'll turn up. I'm just doing a bit of a lining here. So that is about the tip of that, which is good. There's this lovely sort of flick of this shape here. Yeah, that does fit. Fairly comfortable with my drawing so far, but if I weren't, I could go back, move it around a bit. Okay, that's there. So yeah, the drawing's going in really fast. It's a plant, so a leaf could be in a slightly different place to what it was, and wouldn't make a dramatic difference to it. That's got to come across a bit further. This has this. It's got this darker leaf in the middle. Okay, right. So that leaf's wandered off a little bit, but it's not too bad. So it might move the postel across a little bit while that's darker. So it's just one brush, but it's naturally shifting from light to dark. So that is going to wander off the edge now, but am I okay with that? Too late to change it now. Oh, that's way off. That should be back here somewhere. I'm going to bring it in. Yeah, all of this is wandered off too far.
So, Skinflower music.
Oh, hi Matt.
Yeah, Matt's back. Never ceases to amaze me how you can see and develop these before any of us can even contemplate why you put a colour on the brush.
Well, that's very nice of you to say. It's there is a kind of, I have got the advantage that my head's done a bit of working out what I want to see and where and how. So the very beginning bit is a bit of sort of filling that in. I've sort of already drawn it in my mind. So the whole thing's grown now, you see, and I have to decide whether I'm going to keep it like that. I could lie about the pot and make it smaller. It's all in the wrong place if I'm going to do it like that. Hang on. What have I done? I'll bring that across a little bit. That's that little point there, which means this is here. No, that was already coming a bit. Oh, can it? You know what? Oh, I'm fiddling with the drawing already. It's too soon to be fiddling with the drawing. Also, there is another thing. So something I did want to talk about today a bit is that there's, first of all, I'm just reacting and figuring out what goes where. But then there's also the thing of what's going to make this a beautiful image. Ultimately, that's what I want to make. And sometimes it's just an exercise in painting just to sort of find out what's there. But ultimately, I do want to make something appealing and something that feels right. And yeah, that's when I have to make other choices. I think I might make this pot shorter. I'm sure they could have made a shorter pot. I'm going to lie about it and I'm going to put it here because that feels good in the picture. It would still be perfectly big enough to support the plant, so I'm not making anything distracting. It's going to allow that shadow to sit there, which is kind of important. Means I can shift some other things. Okay, shift this across a bit. Really pull out some of those negative spaces again. How's that doing? That's fine. Yeah. Okay. Let's get some of that light colour and put it on this side. Well, actually, all of this goes into the dark, but got some forms now, I think. There's going to be some interesting things to do with okay. Yeah, with reflections and things on this vase, that's going to be quite fun. Vase? Is it a vase? Is it a pot? It's a pot. I'm going to call it a pot.
Well, what makes a vase and a pot a pot?
It's a very good point.
I would have said a pot is more sort of like short and fat, whereas a vase is long and thin.
I think it comes down to functionality. I think a vase has to be decorative. Don't you think?
Yeah, but can you not have a decorative pot?
Yeah, but it also has to be functional, otherwise it's a vase. That would be my guess. That's my instinct and I'm sticking with it.
That's on the back of the postcard, please.
Yeah. Yeah, soily bits. Make that a bit darker even. So I've gone into my grey now. Not going to be overly fussy about it. Those details will come in later. So have I squashed the whole thing and made it dumpy? I don't think so. There's also a few other little things. I want a few of these. I like the way the the leaves will sort of poke out from, it's like central points where the stem spits out all these individual little, all the leaves come from the same point, the same bit of growth, rather than being sort of stepped. Go back to that red and put a few of these dark shapes in. There'll be some there, there'll be some in here. So the big brush stuff goes a long way. I want to use the big brush and I'll do some of this background colour as well. There's a nice soft one here. I'm going to use a little bit of oil, just a little bit, and help that spread out a little bit and really start to see how these colours talk to each other. Just try and be big and bold because I can always refine edges and drawing later on. Yeah, it's a nice bit of light there. So I should have done that as a square mark which met at the edge of the thing, and then that would make sense. So again, let's do some of these big shapes. It's going to start steep. Oh, there's another leaf behind there that I missed. I've done that a bit dark, but that's okay.
Steve Henderson's come on board. Hi, guys.
Steve.
Evening.
So I've been fiddling around with the sound, so hopefully it's really nice and loud and clear. Things like making videos, the real battles are things like, you make something and you think, well, that's fine, and then you're sort of checking it out and you've been watching some other YouTube things and you put yours on and it's like everyone's whispering and it's ridiculously quiet, and there's all these sort of tricks just to make it sound normal, which seems like a lot of bother, but I guess it's sort of just part of it.
It's annoying as well, isn't it, when there's sort of like some annoying YouTuber that's telling you how to do something, you do it and it works.
Oh, yeah, that. You know what it really needs. The whole thing really needs is, if you've got a question like, how do I go into the YouTube editor and increase the volume? What you need is someone to make a video going, can't do that, stop wasting your time.
Yeah.
Rather than going, oh, I've got something that sounds a bit like that. So you want to know how to change the volume of your off-the-shelf music, do you? And they'll talk for 10 minutes. The Americans love talking. They'll talk for 10 minutes before they get around to not answering the question. It's quite the wind-up. Anyway, figured that out.
Sound is good.
Hey, excellent. There's a few negative spaces there. There's a few little bits in here which are going to be important. Reload the brush every time. Blob there. Nice little blob there. You put that in as a sideways mark.
Quite early on to be doing little pieces like that.
Well, now the drawing's in, I may as well sort of get it myself to some extent. It's going to start, I can mix some more of this colour because it's a really simple recipe. And that's the good thing about having an earth colour, is you can sort of use a few neutrals. Yeah, I'm going to need some more of that. That's me thinking I had loads. Oh yeah, I put a bit of yellow in it as well, didn't I? Tiny dab. And I want a bit of a darker colour as well, a bit of a shadow colour. I'll pop that here. I'll borrow some of that grey. Make it slightly greener as well. Oh, that's way too much. Or is it? Oh no, that's pretty good. I like that.
The excitement in your voice.
I know. Well, you know, so mixing colours is one of the most fun parts of painting. This is going to be ever so slightly darker, so I'm going to use it to create that slight change there. And then we'll go back to the bits here. And there's going to be a few important edges. Mostly it's going to be about what like that. So there's a few flicks going to be going in here, so I'm already thinking ahead. I'm going to be using some fairly loose oily paint to sort of create a colour that travels nicely. Now this surface isn't finished necessarily. I'll probably work in some bits even lighter and some bits darker, I dare say. Where the high contrast is. Right, yeah, okay. There's a few bits here. That's going to need some. The underneath of that. Yes, there's a few bits where these colours are interrupted by a little flicky bit. And that's really the language of the plant, which is quite good. It's quite important to be able to get that. Nice little bit of brightness over here. And then we'll go into that. The shadow. Not even sure it's going to be dark enough, but yeah, I'm going to have to straighten that up a little bit because I've decided to change the size of the pot, haven't I? Of the pot vase. Okay, and then yeah, a bit more brown in that, just to grey it off. Warm it up a little bit. A little bit of oil. Push that into the background. And similarly over here. A few shadows. And if I bring these shadows in here, they'll allow the red to really show off when I put it in properly.
In the shop earlier, did you say that there were some classes going on today?
Yeah.
And how are they going?
Yeah, that's all going well. So watercolour started today, and I hope everybody had a good time doing that.
Is that just over in Digby Hall by the library?
It is, yes. Are you trying to surreptitiously advertise it?
No, I was I didn't really hear all of what you said earlier, so
right.
I'm just kind of asking about it. Now seemed relatively fitting time to do so.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there's still classes going on and stuff, so that seems to all be working pretty well. Yeah. And go back over into the light a bit over here. It's somewhere in between. Yeah. Okay, that's my surface in. I wonder how well this will cover up the red. Pretty well.
You can't tell it's a stubby pot, can you?
What, sorry?
You can't tell it's not supposed to be a small stubby pot.
No, I think I'll get away with that. Obviously, I'll redefine the shape at the bottom of it a bit later on. Tell you what I will do as well is I'll drag some of that into the red, because that's sort of what's happening. Bit of a reflection there. Yeah, that'll do. While I've got that, I'll get a bit of this dark red over here and just mix what's on the brush. A bit more of it. And there's this sort of reflection colour from over here. It's sort of under there. Okay. Yeah, it seems to do a job. Dark red under here. And go even darker. Yeah, and put some of the bright red over the top when the time comes. Push that back a bit. Ugh. Oh no, it's too late to use that for green. Time to give the brush a wash. What's the time?
1:45.
Oh, not bad. All right. What's next? I missed a bit. As my head moves around, I'm seeing different things. There's another nice bit of negative space. I'm really hoping there's enough paint here for me to still do this. Here.
How wonderful we can get cheap viewers on viewjoy.ru.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
It's exciting,
how wonderful.
isn't it?
So they'll like force them to watch even though they don't want to.
.ru
Or they'll just
potentially Russia, so you never know.
Or they'll just pretend they're watching, because it'd be great if more people just pretended to be doing something they weren't doing. Think of the difference that'd make.
Like, it pretends to not watch.
Imagine the difference it would make to your lives if more people pretended to like you.
Rent a friend.
Exactly. I mean, obviously, they don't like you.
Yeah.
But you could believe for a short while that maybe they did. And all it would cost you is money. What a privilege. I can't believe opportunities like that come my way. I just feel so lucky.
I see.
Yes, how horrible. Oh, the sad thing is obviously, you know, it wouldn't work if people weren't falling for it. But oh, someone's just left their engine running again because they think the ticked double yellow lambs outside of a car park. I just want to chuck eggs at them. It winds me up. Fumes! It's a Land Rover just parked in the middle of the junction.
Excellent.
I did have a plan for building a trebuchet that would fire eggs out the back window, straight up in the air, and then after 30 seconds, just land completely vertically on people's cars. You can smell it from in here.
That's horrible.
It's really horrible. Whoa.
Hey. Jay said that's my absolute pet hate. They all do it around here.
Right.
Where were we?
I'm going to try a few of these bright reds on, so like I said, rather than just putting them on at the end and hoping I can make something bright enough. Yeah, do it. This is the orangey one. Right there. Bright enough. And that's too dark. That's so dark. It's really interesting. So that doesn't have the light in it. And this one doesn't have the intensity. Maybe this such a subtle thing. It's right in between.
Oh, whilst you've gone downstairs, I could have entertained with some dad jokes for a while, couldn't I?
Did you not tell any jokes, Bob?
I should have done. A great one the other day. I bought a DeLorean the other day. I travel in it from time to time.
That's a joke.
That's Back to the Future. Come on,
Yeah,
get with it.
Get with it. Discouraging. Yeah, I want to be discouraging.
You want to punch me in the face?
I'd like it to stop, but I don't want to upset you.
Could do more.
There's a fine balance here. Get the right colour. If I've got a variety of colours, it should work. So close.
Someone called Nephajavia has posted saying, "I'm interested. Where are you located?"
I wonder if they want to buy something. I bet they'd like to buy something. Ask them if they'd like to buy something.
If they're watching, come in. Right?
YouTube. I wonder why they immediately want to know where I'm living. What could possibly reason could they have? I mean, I doubt it's because they want to say that they're in a different part of the world, so they don't accidentally say they're around.
A little bit.
You trying to find something else?
No, I've done that. Taff Martin has liked you on like the live stream this evening. There we go. Hello, Taff.
I'm not sure. In fact, a lot of people see it, but don't show up on the numbers. So it's very hard to know. Don't be afraid to reach out to somebody. You don't be expected to do anything. Unless you prefer to keep it secret. I won't reveal it to your friends and family.
Secretly enjoy watching James Budden's live stream. I'm just waiting for the spatula.
This might be.
God, the fact that you can hear that driving well, well up the road is, yeah. Seemed quite amenable when you went down there, though. In a very British way. Excuse me, sir. You mind awfully.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I think one of the most disarming things any of us have is politeness.
Mm-hmm.
Very hard to root something. And it also means that if I'm a bit cross, I certainly don't have to someone who might be able to get shutting it down. Okay, I'm starting to see temperature changes here. You know, you think about that. So you get a bit of magenta out. I'm going to use that for some. Similar on the panel. Places where I want it to cool down, we'll have a little break, I think. Use a small brush. Details. Your audio has gone faint, James, apparently. That must be the battery going. So we didn't get them all.
And give a quick charge when we go for the break.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you for pointing it out there, Josie.
I'll do a few extra little bits and pieces, like get some lights along the edge of that. It's going to cool off. That's too bright. That's not doing anything useful. It is making a difference though. Oh, especially over here. I'm going to try one more blast with the brightest possible red. Just on here. Not light enough. That's not red enough. It's mad. Because there's a quantity of light and colour which I can't recreate with paint. Which I think is going to become fairly maddening in time. I don't know how it looks pretty bright on the on the monitor. Maybe I've gone too red with the rest of it. I guess that's possible. Bits mixing on the surface. Okay. Yeah, let's go and have a short break and come back and see if I can't make a redder paint. Okay. See you in a sec. Did you reply to the person who asked?
Yeah, guess what they said? Been shipped to London.
Oh. What did you say?
Oh, I haven't responded to that one yet.
Because what I like to do with these things is to get them to commit so much more and then send their address and then say, well, that give me you are 10th visitor, so you get it free, put it in the post tomorrow. And it's just go down and cover all the costs. And they'll keep trying to pay for it. No, I don't want your money. just delighted that you like it. So thanks so much for your interest. Let us know when it arrives. Never find better.
Can you ship it to me, London? No. Got a thumbs up. I'm seeing the ones you've previously done. Yeah, and so I'm going to copy and go to. This is brilliant. Yeah. I know what he said. I can.
Send it to a break, they just disappear.
Yeah.
Someone great.
I like the. Can you ship it to California? You have a courier pick it up, or I could deliver it. What's your address? They put their address. I could drop it off the weekend. I'm going to Sacramento. That's not far out of my way.
Suddenly just go.
Yeah, absolutely dead. What is the reason for people doing this?
Because you pay now, so they can pay you with money. There's various different scams. The reason I leave them on is because I want to find out what they're doing. And sometimes if it lands in the right time, I'm working, I just put it on the speaker and and just as the messages pop up, just but no, I mean the best one was sometimes I would say, do you like about the picture? Or just to check that you're genuine. Can you describe the picture as well? And this was really, really good. For example, boat on a lake and in the butler. That's a silly testament to it, really. Some of it, I'm sure, is AI. I'm pretty sure most of it's AI. And then someone else will take over. And so there'll be signals that will obviously alert the human beings to come and take over. So I'm trying to figure out what those signals are. Sometimes it's just the work. You know, then you need some money and stuff like that. I'm Facebook as well. All I follow which I'm interested in is sort of markets. So everything that isn't that is the stuff on Facebook. Like all of the sort of selection things. So I think it's going to do something like sponsorship. So just throw bits of that. Rather than that, it's just use that random stuff. It's clearly on the agenda. Because all of my friends are also musicians. They keep showing me things that clearly just stir up.
Oh yeah, it's all supposed to be divisive, which is
The whole business. Because in a way, I mean, I keep it as a shop in there. I'm making this better. That's what it's.
we're back.
I hope the sound has improved. It looks like it's better.
I think there was sound. Like you might need to check that there was sound on whilst the time lapse was going.
Oh right. Oh yeah, I think it has its own sound.
No, but I think that like I was
the
speaking
microphone.
because it was coming up with sort of subtitled text on Facebook.
Oh, while we were. Oh right. Oh, so we're still chatting away.
Yeah.
Oh well, there you go. So, although I'm pretty sure the scammer isn't actually watching.
No.
It's just an automatic thing that pops up, isn't it? So we've been having a look at who this person is trying to scam, and Graham's found some of my comedy conversations with previous attempted scammers. who I like to wind up. I shouldn't waste my time with them, really. It's terrible, but now I'm going to try and get some cools in here.
Sound is thumbs up from Josie. Brilliant.
Oh, good.
Good. And Matt, Skinflower Music, said the time lapses are back. They've never gone away.
Oh, well, no, yeah. So I've got a couple more sort of in progress, and I kept being interrupted while I was doing them, and so there'll be a few new ones coming along at some point. Okay, this is interesting. It's amazing how light this looks on the palette and how dark it looks on the canvas. So maybe if I go even darker on here, we'll remember in that a tiny bit of red. Whether it will make the those reds jump up a bit.
It's got a lot of flicky strokes this evening, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's quite a flicky. The leaves are quite flicky. There's some extra darks in here. One up here. So yeah, they've got some of these little curly ends. So here, there's a bit of a flick over there. This has got this interesting little curly end. A little bit Tim Burton. You know, that visual style with things like The Nightmare Before Christmas and
Oh, they're brilliant.
Corpse Bride and things like that. It's a kind of an elegance that it's shooting for with a lot of stuff. Okay, pop a little bit of extra shadow in there. Okay, I'm going to have another go. I've got some rose madder here. At least I think that's what I put out. Or is this it? No, that's the magenta. Pop that back. And some Indian yellow. These are both very transparent colours. So hopefully I can make a lighter version with a bit more. No, sorry, I keep prodding the wrong one. Oh no, that's even duller. But maybe that'll be useful. Right, no, that's not doing it at all. Get back to some of these dark reds, put a few of these flicks in. Flick. And I really don't know how I'm going to do this. I think the only way I'm going to manage it is with white. I'll try a bit more of that Indian yellow. And Scarlet Lake, just to turn that colour up. What happens if I do Indian yellow and Scarlet Lake? Yeah, not quite there. Bit of extra white in it. Okay. A bit more like it. So I'll never quite get the colour I need in it. But I can at least sort of hint at the contrast required. Let's put a bit of that across here.
Because this has happened before on paintings with red. Is it mainly red that
Yeah.
that struggles?
Yeah, with green you have the opposite problem, where everything can go way greener than it ever could be in real life. Okay.
I really like those sort of cooler blue tones that you put onto it.
Yeah, I need a bit of temperature difference to really make this work. It's got darker again now. I've done the flick of that leaf too soon. That's okay. It's quite fun now. See, that's not turning up light enough. I'm going to make a lighter one over here. I'm going to do a few highlights just to sort of try and brighten things just at the lightest bits. On the inside of that. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. It's sort of where there's more light, it sort of cools off. It's so subtle, but it will make all the difference as to whether this works as an image near the end and whether these leaves separate out from one another in the overall image. So there, it's going to get cooler. Where else? Where the light's traveling through it, it's going to get warmer. Oh yeah, that's feeling pretty good there. I'm going to cool it off here a little bit as well. There's so much paint on this bit by now that going over it again probably doesn't make a lot of sense, but especially that thing brightening the inside of that leaf. this one. Oh, this has got a little bright highlight on the end. That's quite fun. That's catching an edge. This has got a little flick of light from the top. Up again. A few bits in there. Okay, I think that's coming in now. Certainly the language of the plant is appearing. Put a few little highlights on this, try and make them in keeping with the rest. It needs to be yellower. And then the same thing around the top. A bit there that's redder than everything else. A bit there, that'll give me a nice bit of an edge. Oh, I have to be careful here. I don't want to throw my ellipse completely. I also don't want to give myself too much of a job of having to describe the whole thing. Because actually I only want to hint at it. Because if I try and describe the whole thing, it will be wrong in some respect. You can never get the lips entirely right. Okay, last bit, I'm going to go back to an orange. I'm going to have that showing through some of the leaves. So through here. Through here. Those temperature differences should make a difference. There's more light on top of it. No, let's go back to that slightly pinker one again. And what else did I do? I didn't do this one. Just looking at all the different places these colours could go. Okay, so it's going to be fiddling if I carry on. So the next thing I'm going to do is got a few lighter greens. I'm going to have some yellow in them. Where are they going to go? There'll be a few in here. A few in there. Just little dabs. It's going to mix nicely on the surface, that's okay. And then they'll turn into a deeper green in there. Pop a few highlights on there. Pushing the edges of that. And that one. and a few darker colours behind. When it is nearly done.
Nearly done?
Mm.
Really?
I know. What are we going to do with the rest of the time?
More dad jokes?
Why not? How could anyone have any objection to that? Oh. Yeah, I'm quite enjoying that. A few little details here and there. It was a bit much. I trust myself. What I've done is fine. I really don't want to get the overall language of it. You know what? It's all right. I'm going to put a bit of extra dark just under this edge here, because that's going to plant it on the ground. Under this here, just to get that ellipse the right shape. It'll never be the right shape. Stop worrying about it. These sort of deep shadows in here behind the plant. And then, yeah, there's sort of some bluey colours in here. No, grey, just grey. I know. No, streaky. My reddy brown colour. Pop a few bits of that in. Anything else? There's still a bit of this greeny colour to come from the other side. I'm going to use some of this reject red that I made. Is that right? And pop in a little stripe of that. Join the two sides together. Anything else? Highlights. I'm going to clean that brush. Oh yeah, that orange goes in here. A little bit in the bottom of that. So that light showing through. Okay. I've got a little bit of yellowy highlight here, which I can put some into those uprights at the bottom here. It's got a little notch on things. It's a paler version of the green. Pop a bit more yellow in that. ping out a few little bits of greenery in the middle of this. Other than that, I think that's all right. Go back to my bluey violet colour. Bring out a few highlights from the pot, especially to kind of reinforce the idea of the ellipse. That. Okay. Last things. I keep putting the brushes back in the thinners. I shouldn't be doing that until I want to clean them properly, which means I must be wanting to get a shot of this somehow. Ooh. Borrow a bit of that yellow, a bit of that orange, a little bit more yellow. And I'm going to brighten up some of this background colour. Tiny little bit of oil. A bit more than that maybe. Brush, that's the brush. Okay, so I want to start with the very brightest bits. So I'm chucking the most pigment into there, which is going to be here and around that edge of that pot. And it will create a nice difference between the colour where I'm dragging that previous colour across to be a highlight. I could probably even go brighter than this, so maybe I'll go over here a bit. Just take the edge of that green, it's a bit much. Okay. Put more white in it. See what that does. Fair bit actually. I can really go back in and really define some of these edges again now. Really make them pop out where they need to.
Really amazing you use such a big brush for that.
Well, it stops you being fiddly. Where else? Yeah. That light to carry across. That makes a difference. And a little bit in the middle at the top as well. Really want to redefine that little shape there. That work? Not quite. There we go. A few broken edges and a few cleaner edges, and that works pretty well. So I'm repeating myself to a certain extent, but not too much. Yeah, it's just fiddling from now, isn't it? So don't do that. There's another little flick I spotted that I didn't manage to put on. Don't know where it went. Got away from me. Can't find it now. Couldn't have been important. Yeah, you know what? I haven't stood back from this properly. I think that works okay. It's almost too much of a change in here. And drag that out a bit. But yeah, I think I'm all right with that. Tighten this up a little bit. Yeah, I like the way the red carries across a little bit. I think that will do. I think I'm going to sign that, and I'm going to have to sign it in red, really, aren't I? Be rude to do anything else. Well, that was fun, and weirdly effective. This is the bit where I see things I should have changed, isn't it? As a study in reds, it seems so simple, and is. I think the red pot was a great idea. I'm happy with that. I'm happy to have shortened it so it's in a comfortable place. I like having that bit of space at the top. You need the space at the bottom to balance it out. Yeah, there's a sense of the light and that kind of thing. You know, the nature of the leaves and the language of the plant itself.
I really like it.
So I'll stick that in the frame, and that will be on the wall of Bean Shop tomorrow.
Not just the wall, the gallery.
Yes, I have a little gallery wall now in Bean Shop. So it's got labels on. So if you wanted to know how much a painting would cost in coffees, you can find out, because I've written that on there. Unfortunately, you can't pay in coffees, because I'd end up with a serious caffeine addiction. But yeah, so let's have a little close-up look at this. Oh. Okay, so that's my subject matter from where I was sitting, and there's my painting. I think, you know, generally
I really like that. What you said is like a study in red. I think that's really cool.
And you know what? The camera's having real trouble differentiating the reds here. It's making them all look very similar, and there are subtle differences.
It is better on the kind of live one than you're seeing there.
Oh, right, good. So yeah, so especially all this stuff, it's all quite interesting. when you're close up, it looks like a lot of nonsense, but as you go back, it should sort of start to make sense, because there's a structure that your brain figures out about what's growing out of where. Over here, this is really just very messy. Not important, because you're not looking there. It bounces you back in.
I think the stalks are really incredible as well. Stalks, stems, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, I mean, they are on the actual plant. It's an interesting thing. You've got, like, it grows to a certain extent, and then all of them come out in the same place, which is, it's quite unusual, you know.
But just the way that you've managed to capture the colours and the knots that are in them, and
and mostly I'm quite pleased with the colour relationship. I think, you know, when I was talking about just trying to make a beautiful painting, it's about balance, form, colour, and a mood. And I think I've been raging a bit, and I think this particular plant looks incandescent with built up sanguine.
Also, I think the fact
sanguine is not the word, is
like
it?
It's red as well.
Yeah. There's something very sort of hot and bloody about it, if you like. Just for experiment, I'm going to see how, when it comes down to colour, the tricky thing. I'm going to release this other camera. Now, I think there's a palette cam option there.
Yep.
There we are. I don't know if that's seeing more of the subtlety. Not sure it is. Bit more maybe. But I just don't think it can handle the red at all. Focusing. Yeah, having real trouble with it. You can see some of the warms and cools a bit more with this. There are changes in temperature, which are really quite important. That's a previous effort, so you know what I think it might be? Could be the polarizing filter.
Yeah, it does look good when when he gets in focus. It looks really nice.
Delay here. Right. There we are. That's the polarizing filter doing its bit. But still, it's not a whole lot better, is it? But there you go. Yeah, they don't. It's good for the palette, this camera, but the color accuracy is pretty good, especially at a distance. But cameras will never quite do the job. Okay, well, I made a hassle for myself here. How did I manage this? There we are. We can go back to normal. There we go. Did you like that little fade transition?
Very
fun,
nice,
wasn't it?
Very nice.
Yes. Do a refocus on that. Yes, I think I'll keep the setup as it is. So yeah, so that's a bit of fun, and I hope you'll get a chance to see it. Otherwise, it will go on the website and onto Saatchi Art soon. And working on the next stage of all of this, but I'll keep the live stream going as best I can. And watch out for whatever's next. And thanks for coming along.
Yeah, cool. Thank you very much. We shall see you next week.